everyone, I'm Morgan Bell. I'm the social media manager at UAF, and I'm here with Margaret, and she's just going to introduce herself and talk to us a little bit more about her poster. So go ahead, Margaret.
Hi, my name is Margaret Rudolf. My Nupian name is Anamuk, and I'm a PhD candidate at the University of Alaska Fairbanks. One of the projects I work on is with the Food Security Working Group, which is a working group outside of the university focused on Indigenous food security, Indigenous food sovereignty. And what does that mean, I guess, in a context that might not be food security in international context, so like the lower 48, is that it is more focused on how the Alaska Natives still live off the land. They live a subsistence way of life. They hunt, they gather. And so to us, that is, it's a bit more focused not on like food distribution, but a lot more focused on the rights and the policies around wildlife management, fisheries, resource management, those types of aspects that are really dictating how Indigenous people can hunt, what they can hunt, the amounts they can hunt, those types of issues. And a lot of that is being really challenging because of climate change and the changes that are happening that is really impacting. And so with our group, it is this individual group outside the university, Food Sovereignty Work Group, but the university with a project, RNA co-ops, researching networking activity for a sustained coordinated observations for Arctic change, kind of long. RNA co-ops is a lot easier. They've hired 3 Indigenous liaisons to work with the Food Sovereignty Working Group. Sometimes I'll use both Food Security Work Group, Food Sovereignty Work Group. We're going through a bit of a name change at the request of the broader group to really be more representative of the policy sovereignty, Indigenous sovereignty aspect. So sorry, I keep getting them confused. So RNA Co-ops is part of this larger initiative called Stay on Roads, Sustained Arctic Observing Network. And roads is like a roadmap, so it's a big strategic planning internationally about how do we improve Arctic observing, because right now it's individual projects, different countries doing different things, and so that means we have overlap and gaps. And so it's strategic planning. The way it's done is it's focused on societal needs, and then focusing on how do we then observe the Arctic for climate change, and so what do we observe, how do we observe it, and so that's kind of aspect. And so the Food Sovereignty Working Group is really focused on Indigenous food security and how kind of my role is how we actually coordinate better Arctic observing to meet Indigenous food security. So understanding climate change that's then impacting the animals or the access or those different types of things that relate to Indigenous food security.
Yeah, thank you so much. And with this group and with this project, what do you anticipate the group to accomplish in the next few years?
Yeah, so right now it was an informal group, and it was the type of thing where we just started meeting regularly. It grew out of the Arctic Observing Summits. The last Arctic Observing Summit was March 2020, and then we just started meeting regularly after that and talking about writing papers, talking about doing different activities and how important it is. And so it became one of those things where it's just we really wanted people to get funded to then grow the group and make it a bit more structured and sustainable, and actually being able to do a lot of the things we wanted to do, talk about research processes, share Indigenous food security and food sovereignty and what does it mean from the Indigenous perspective, those types of things. Yeah. And so the liaisons do help provide that structure. We are working on developing and coordinating other projects to happen beyond just RNA co-ops and what's happening at UAF, because again, this is such a big issue that it's just one project can't solve it all. So as part of the bigger group and the structuring, so we're expecting to have papers on how to respectfully engage Indigenous communities, having a platform to share really great projects and the Indigenous perspective on food security. So a monthly seminar is what we're planning. Being able to coordinate different projects, so starting with the community and having really good partnerships with communities and then understanding their needs and what they want to do, and then once you understand that, being able to coordinate both with RNA co-ops, university, as well as the relevant policymakers or other research institutes and those types of things.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for talking with us today, Margaret.
Yeah.